You're listening to the Unlocking Africa podcast.
I will never forget the relief and the hope in their eyes. That was the moment that it was clear to me that solar drying is just not about preservation technique, it's a lifeline. And then I adopted the technology, and I produced a premium brand that we were exporting to 9 countries. I think the validation during the war and uncertainty, they proved that we still can innovate during hard time. It's about trusting each other and building this supporting network and having like-minded women in your network that can help you grow.
Stay tuned as we bring you inspiring people who are unlocking Africa's economic potential. You're listening to the Unlocking Africa podcast with your host, Tessa Adamu.
Welcome back to another episode of the Unlocking Africa podcast, where we explore the stories, strategies, and solutions that are shaping Africa's economic transformation. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies the spirit of innovation and resilience. Dr. Alaa Salih Hamadto, founder and CEO of Solar Foods, a Sudanese enterprise that's transforming traditional food preservation through clean technology. Dr. Hamadto is also a recipient of the Bayer Foundation Women Empowerment Award, which recognizes outstanding women bridging science, innovation, and community impact across Africa and the Middle East. Welcome, Dr. Alaa Salih. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. As always, I like to start from the beginning, so I was hoping you could give us an introduction into who Dr. Alaa Salih Hamadto is.
Okay, I am mother of 3 daughters. I was a dentist working in the medical field for 4 years before heading to business as a woman entrepreneur in the field of food processing with emphasis of the use of solar energy.
Fantastic. You've given us a nice brief introduction into who you are, your personal, professional life. Looking at your story, it sits beautifully at that kind of intersection of tradition and technology. But can you take us back to the moment where the idea of solar food was born?
Okay, so the story, it started 15 years ago in our house. My father, he was really disappointed because he tried to promote the use of the solar energy. He trained and educated thousands of students, engineers. They did a lot of vocational training for blacksmiths, and he said he did his best, but unfortunately the people will go outside Sudan and will never return back. He felt he wasted his life in promoting this, and people are not coming back. So my father was a senior scientist in the 70s in the UK Atomic Energy Authority. He went back to Sudan, early 80s. He trying to promote the use of the solar energy. He was biased to the thermal use of the solar energy. He developed the solar cooker and solar dryer. And no matter what he tried to promote those dryers with the research center, with the farmers, he was giving those dryers. He was just giving it without money, and the people were not adopting his technology. They said this is only theoretical, like those dryers can work. So when I saw my father, was very sad. I was a dentist. I was not an engineer or a physicist. I felt, I need to keep his legacy. I didn't know where to start. And then I thought, why not to start by adopting our own technology? He was working in the energy field. I took those dryers, I spent 3 years in R&D, and I went into the food sector. We wanted to show the people that those dryers can generate money actually by building a prestigious food brand. This is how those dryers can generate money for us. So this was the journey.
Was there a specific moment or experience that made you aware or feel that you had to commit to transforming the food systems in Sudan?
I think the moment when I felt the impact of what we're doing, it was in an early flood season in Sudan. the water was rising and cut off the access to small-scale female farmers who were harvesting molokhia. It's a leafy green vegetable similar to spinach. So the middlemen and the trader, they refuse to buy their produce or help them with the transportation. It's a very sensitive crop. It will spoil after a few hours. So they left those female farmers helpless. And the farmers, they reached out to me explaining that if the harvest was lost, their family would go hungry. So the vehicle couldn't reach the area because of the flooding. So our team used a boat to get in, then relied on camels for the transportation. It was a very difficult situation, but they managed to move the crops to our facility where we solar dried them. We paid the farmers fairly for their produce. And I will never forget the relief and the hope in their eyes. That was the moment that it was clear to me that solar drying is just not about preservation technique. It's a lifeline. It helped us to support modern food system, especially in vulnerable and underserved communities. This was not very profitable at that time because of the logistics, but then we gained the farmers' trust.
You mentioned a specific flood season was what sparked your commitment to the food systems in Sudan. I know as a Sudanese entrepreneur, you've had to navigate both innovation, crises, and conflict. So what has resilience looked like for you and your team during the ongoing conflict that we see in Sudan?
I think resilience for us, it meant turning fear into focus. It was about keeping our mission alive. When the war started, our main factory in Khartoum was looted. We lost our equipment, inventory, and years of hard work overnight. Many of our team members were displaced. I fled to Cairo with my daughter with only the clothes we were wearing. But I think instead of collapsing, we regrouped again. We moved our production to a safe city and we rebuilt from almost nothing. We rented land, designed new dryers, and literally worked under the sun with our own hands. So I think resilience, exactly that during the war that we served and we scaled.
Fantastic. As you mentioned, many of you and your team were displaced with the ongoing conflict. So for our listeners who might not be familiar with Solar Foods, can you explain how you've had to structure your business model so it still operates whilst this conflict is taking place?
I think it was about decentralization hub, making multiple hubs with farmer cooperatives. So we started with building our own facility, and then we discovered before the war, we were selling our produce B2B as ingredient supplier to the meat factory, to other companies, and then we were selling directly to the supermarket. After the war, we discovered that we need to have a collaborative model with the agriculture cooperatives. So we were equipping them with the dryers and we were turning them into aggregator and processor. We act as off-taker in two levels. The first level, we're taking their produce, the fresh produce, because some farmers, they didn't want to be processor. The second level, we also off-take the dry produce, and then we pack it and we sell it through our distribution network.
So if we look at your produce and process, how do you combine both the ancient solar drying techniques with modern IO technology to create this sustainable food preservation system that you've created?
Okay, so early history drying was the typical food preservation method. My people, they were just sun-dry the produce, but the produce were polluted. It was not hygienic and it wasn't preserve the value. And also they couldn't find a market to promote their produce. They were only selling in very small scale. The idea with the solar dryer is to have more hygienic and efficient technology that can help in making a good quality brand. So each dryer is equipped with sensor that measure the temperature and humidity. It's connected to a closed loop system that automatically adjusts the airflow. So that will give us a reliable automated process without the need to constantly check or interfere. The farmers could trust the system to keep the condition stable. Before the war, we also integrated an IoT at the factory level. We were using a 4G SIM connectivity to monitor and log data across multiple dryer in real time. But for now, we're more focused on automation in the field. We're thinking if we can build multiple hubs and secure the funding so we can return again to our IoT model, and both the farmers, our central team, can benefit from real-time data and stronger traceability for export.
To enable this, your work empowers, I think I read, over 5,000 farmers and has also supported 7,000 plus during Sudan's war. So how have you gone about creating these partnerships to ensure that what you do has both impact and is sustainable?
It was a long journey. It took us, I think it was 7 years to exactly reach this model. So before, I told you about my father. He was only giving the dryers, the technology, and then there was no technology adoption. And then I adopted the technology, and I produced a premium brand that we were exporting to 9 countries. The people said the potentiality in this and wanted to have those dryers. So I went back to the farmers. I was equipping them with the dryers, and then they were produce. We discovered that without connecting them to the market, this will be of no use. And then we didn't want them to think that we're trying to monopolize the business. So we started a unique model by privatization, the cooperatives. We were registering them as a business name and companies, and then we're giving them the bargaining power over salesman. So those new entities was not our companies or our business. They belong to those farmers. The farmers now, they can trust us. We will tell them, okay, so you have this model where you can sell directly to the market. We give them training in marketing, in pricing. Or if you have trouble, we can guarantee of taking those produce from you if you maintain the quality, and they have a market. So through this partnership, we make it more sustainable. We were nurturing them, we were more like ecosystem enabler. We're creating those hubs, and we were nurturing them and connecting them directly to the market. And through our distribution channel, we also act as off-taker from them and sell it nationally and internationally.
Welcome back to Verto Corner, where we unpack real-world solutions to global business challenges. Today's topic, how product thinking can turn payment pain points into scalable growth opportunities. Here's Tomasz Bilakevich sharing how modern product teams design for both impact and scale. Over to you, Tomasz.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's a very interesting topic, very close to my heart. As you said, solving these single cross-border payments is one thing, right? Building a platform that can scale that solution across dozens of market currencies, shifting regulatory landscape, that is the real challenge. The pain points you mentioned, these aren't individual problems. They are symptoms of a fragmented, outdated infrastructure. And to tackle them, you don't just build a better payments product, you build a new infrastructure. So this is kind of where we really changed the game. We solved this with our multi-currency wallet, and we allow a business to open a single account and instantly holds over 50 currencies. And that turns effects from a pain to a potential lever that they can use in running their business. And the final point on scaling, emerging markets, it's an ecosystem, and you need to look at it and target it as a whole. And if your vision is to simplify cross-border payment, you have to reach every single business in those markets. Otherwise, the ecosystem just isn't complete. As we discussed, it's not an easy task. You have to pour a lot of time, effort, conviction into it. So if you really care about your mission and delivering on it in the shortest time possible, you cannot just settle on building excellent products. It is almost your moral obligation to make sure nobody else has to go through the same pain. We realize the power of what we've built. So we've made a bold decision to open up our platform to other businesses and other financial institutions who want to offer the same capabilities to their clients. simply because that is the most efficient way of reaching the whole African continent and beyond. We call this product Atlas. It's an API-first platform that effectively offers Verto as a service.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Tomasz. You touched on building new infrastructure, leapfrogging, and integrating into local payment systems, and also how Verto's product roadmap adapts to new markets and currencies. But I was wondering, how does it adapt specifically to regulations in emerging markets?
That's a great question. The way to do it is to build your roadmap on the philosophy of structured agility. So you have your long-term vision and also your roadmap for the next few quarters, but you continue to respond to the changes around you and you continuously fine-tune your plans. The secret sauce for how you manage all of this without creating chaos lies in the core architecture and the philosophy of how you build your existing product. So using Verto as an example, to start with, our platform is modular. We don't have to rebuild the entire stack when we enter a new market. And the second thing, for regulatory frameworks, we treat compliance as a core product feature, not an obstacle as some others would. Our roadmap has a dedicated continuous stream of RegTech. As rules change, we build those new KYC, AML, and screening requirements directly into our platform's automated engine. And this means our clients are inherently compliant when using Verto, and we navigate the regulatory complexity for them, which again is a huge part of how we scale, also how we allow them to scale responsibly.
You touched on the importance of the core architecture, but from your, role or perspective, what would you say is the role of emerging technologies in terms of supporting the scalable, cost-effective product?
Yes, this is the heart of my role, and it's what occupies my mind on a daily basis. These new technologies proliferate every part of our lives at a lightning speed, so you need to adapt quickly. Therefore, to scale globally, you simply cannot throw more people at the problem anymore, right? You have to be smarter. That means operational automation. You have to build tools that use AI to support your in-house teams, but you can also leverage AI to save your clients a lot of time and effort, as we did with our features like bill pay or auto exchange. Then you also have payments automation. So every transaction at Verto goes through our smart liquidity and routing engine, which uses algorithms to intelligently source the best rates and prioritize the fastest settlements for our clients. In a nutshell, instead of fighting all of those new technologies, you must embrace them as a way to streamline operation and drastically lower the cost to serve. This is actually, things like that is what allows us to serve everyone from a high growth startup to large enterprises and do it in a scalable, secure and cost effective way and through a cost effective platform.
So if we look at it from both perspectives in terms of customer and Verto, how do you balance solving those immediate pain points the customers might be feeling, aligning that with Verto's long-term innovation aspirations?
Great question. I think it goes back to some of the points I mentioned earlier. We shouldn't be looking at them as two separate journeys or two separate roadmaps. What is best for our clients is best for Verto. If we allow our clients to grow their businesses, scale their businesses, and if we allow them to do it efficiently, inherently, that means that we're going to grow with them. So to answer this question, long story short, it is all about empowering our clients because through this, we also strengthen our business.
Thank you, Tomasz, for that practical look at how product strategy can unlock efficiency, reliability, and scale in global payments. If you're building or operating across borders, these are the kinds of insights that help shape better decisions. That's it for today's Virto Corner. See you next time. And now back to our interview. You mentioned that you provide the dryers to the farmers. So if we can talk about the tech side, I know you've integrated IoT sensors into your solar dryers. Can you tell us more about how this technology works and what insights it provides to the farmers and producers?
To be honest, the IoT was on our level, on the factory level. It was only for monitoring, real-time monitoring data. It's connected to a dashboard with the data logger. But now we're trying with the trouble in connectivity during the war. We're just depending on the automation of our system. But now the situation become more stable. I think those hubs can be integrated directly to our dashboard and to have this real-time data.
Fantastic. So do you have any other technology or products that you're planning to release in the near future?
Okay, we're just upgrading our facilities. So we started with the dry product and then we did our product line extension. It's the ready mix. We now have this ready falafel mix. It's also dried. So we took our ingredient and we make ready mix. We're hoping to reach ready food and instant food.
Okay, fantastic. As Solar Food is a woman-led business, I'm quite sure that you're very passionate about women entrepreneurship. So I was wondering, what role do local women play in your value chain from production to distribution?
Yes. We're doing a supportive ecosystem around those female, like starting from the farmers till the top management, like it's 88% of our manager and worker are female.
And obviously the reason why we are here is that you are recognized as one of Bayer Foundation Women Empowerment Award winners. So congratulations again on that achievement. How has this recognition impacted your journey and the growth of Solar Foods?
I think it's the validation. I am really proud joining the Bayer Foundation and having the support from the Impact Hub. I think the validation during the war and uncertainty with this prize, they proved that we still can innovate and during hard time. It brought global visibility to our work in Sudan, and it also helped us strengthen our credibility with donor and open new doors for partnership. Part of our solution model is we sell the dryers to INGOs, and then the INGOs equip the farmers. So it gave us more credibility with donors.
Fantastic. So I know the collaboration between Bayer Foundation and Impact Hub focuses on bridging the gap between science and public trust. So how has this philosophy influenced the way that you operate in terms of communicating, also building credibility with the local communities?
I think this is really resonate with us and what we're doing. It's not about just selling the technology. It's about building the trust and serving the underserved and marginalized community with those farmers, communicating the science to people who have lost so much. It requires empathy, not jargon. So we translate this technology into daily solution. In our model, it's not about the high tech, but it's about the right tech that has a real impact on people's life.
So what would you say in terms of what kind of mentorship, connections, or visibility has the program given to you that has made you kind of think different as a founder?
I feel privileged and really lucky to have those incredible network of mentors, especially a mentor like Lena. Lena, she's from the Impact Hub. She really helped me in refining the leadership voice and the strategic thinking. I'm really grateful for them. Like I was struggling a little bit in having a sustainable financial model. And with her help now, our model is improving.
Fantastic. A huge part of the program is to help with scaling, increasing trade and growth. I know that Solar Food is now exporting Sudanese agriculture products across Africa, the Middle East and Europe. what have been your biggest challenges and lessons in navigating regional trade?
Certification, I think, yes. The traceability and certification, it's the most challenging. And then I think, of course, the logistic hardship, the currency, inflation, yes. Also, like how we can compete when you're in a small SMEs, not a large exporter. So, yes, a lot of challenges. I think we also need trade policies that can simplify export procedure and can incentivize those green manufacturers. So if we want to compete with other manufacturers who are using electrical dryers and can have bigger volume, I think we need such a support, those who are using green manufacturing technologies.
You touched on something quite important there in terms of policies. So I guess from your perspective or your opinion, what policies or trade frameworks do you think could better support Africa's food innovators and exporters like yourself?
Yes, I would say again, like policies and framework that support green manufacturer. I think we need it the most.
So with the model that you've created, do you see a way of being able to scale the Solar Foods model across other African countries?
Yes, of course. Next week, I'm going to Uganda. So I'm exploring different African countries like Uganda, Kenya. I will have an African tour and how we can replicate our model. Before the war, we were in, I think, Khartoum state, and then we could replicate it in Kassala, and we could replicate it in Darfur. So why not replicate this model in Africa?
Fantastic. So whilst you're in Uganda, what do you hope to achieve?
I'm exploring opportunity, especially for fruit drying, Like I think in Africa, different countries has different commodities and different vegetables and fruit.
Fantastic. I guess from the conversation today, it's clear that you're a very strong leader. You're a great example in terms of what African women in STEM and entrepreneurship can achieve. So looking at that in terms of women in STEM and entrepreneurship, what do you think still holds women back in the agri-tech space in Africa?
This idea that if you're a woman, okay, you can only have a very small scale. You can't get the help to scale, We want to create empires. We want to create large hubs and very, very big companies. And then they limited us when access little finance, when access little fund to the land. There is a lot of obstacle being a female entrepreneur in Africa.
So what message would you leave to other women entrepreneurs who might be listening to today's conversation?
I think we're encounter of our own destiny. You're responsible, you can scale and you do it your way. Nobody's coming to save us. And it's about trusting each other and building this supporting network and having like-minded women in your network that can help you grow. I see it happening now with the Bayer Foundation and the Impact Hub community. It was amazing progress for me. And then, yes, surround yourself with successful women.
Brilliant. So with that in mind, what would you say have been your biggest leadership lessons as you've grown Solar Foods from an idea into an international social enterprise?
I think my motto is it's not difficult, it's only new. I went through a lot of hardship and difficult situation. And just learn by doing.
I agree.
It's not difficult, it's only new, yes.
So if we look ahead, what does the future of food security in terms of what you're doing, what does that look like in the next 5 to 10 years within, say, Sudan or Africa?
Okay, I think my vision for my country is making Sudan the hub of dry product in Africa. This is what I'm trying to accomplish.
So if we look closer to home, where do you see Solar Foods in the next 5 to 10 years and how will you be contributing to that vision?
I see it like Solar Food is the ecosystem enabler by making multiple hubs in Sudan and creating those business entity with women cooperatives. I think, yes, this is the way forward for Sudan to become the hub of the dry product in Africa.
Quote of the week.
As people, we often have quotes, proverbs, even affirmations that keep us going when times are challenging or when times are good. Do you have one that you can share with us today?
That even in the darkest night, there will always be light. I do believe in this. And I love this African proverb. It say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So during hardship, you need to go together.
Yes, fantastic. And that is a brilliant message to end today's conversation. Alaa, thank you for sharing your journey and insights with us today. From what I've heard and what I've read, your work through Solar Food is definitely an example of how African entrepreneurs, both men and women, are redefining food security, resilience, and innovation for the continent and also beyond. So thank you for taking the time out to join us today. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Allah. Thank you for having me and for highlighting our journey. And I feel privileged, and thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone who has listened and stayed tuned to the podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, or tell a friend about it. You can also rate, review us in Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcast. Thank you, and see you next week for the Unlocking Africa podcast.